Hello, everyone. My name's Gwen Aspen. I'm here with my spouse, Jeremy Aspen. We are co-founders of the company Anequim. And today we're talking about our new offering called Anequim Office Solutions, or also known as AOS. And so, hi, Jeremy.
What's going on, babe?
So first off, what is Anequim Office Solutions, or AOS?
So basically, Anequim Office Solutions is we do everything in the background that you don't want to. And it's true. So bookkeeping, we'll set up workflows, we'll set up custom tabs, we'll make it so that your company is operating using best practices, contrasted with what a lot of property managers get into, kind of setting up their own system. What we do is we set up an automated, more best practices system.
Super efficient. Kind of boring after everything's all set up, which is the point. You don't need to worry about books. You don't need to worry about if things are linked correctly. You don't know if need to know if your accounting is done appropriately. It just is, and that gives people the opportunity to go out and sell or lease or manage maintenance. So we do everything inside the office that you can do virtually or from another position. And then the property management company, what they then get to focus on is property management. And strategy.
And being able to grow the business how you want to, growing doors or whatever that is for you.
So what are the key advantages of having Anequim do these tasks for people?
Well, one, we know what we're doing. Especially in the rent manager software, we know what we're doing. We've been using these practices as our company, property management company, for a decade. We have a strong relationship with rent manager. And so we've been able to, whenever there's a new update, we incorporate it into our procedures so that we can help make sure that we're levering the software to make our lives easier and obviously reduce the cost of labor.
I think one of the other advantages of using Anequim to do these kinds of tasks is you don't have to manage people. So there's no drama, there's no vacation, there's no maternity leave, there's no performance improvement plan, there's no training. All those pieces of the management piece are on our shoulders, and then the property manager doesn't have to do it.
Yeah, and so then along with that comes on top of that is the pricing. Because if you have a more efficient system, it's just going to be less expensive. And that you don't need to manage human beings. Like, it all operates in the background. You don't really even need to know who's on your account to some extent, because we will set up everything that can be automated to be automated. And then anywhere where we need to layer on labor, we have teams that go in and just do the work.
So basically, no one needs to know how the sausage is made. They
Right.
just want to make sure that the goals that are set together are accomplished and that the books look beautiful, for example.
And that your books are an accurate reflection of reality. I mean, in this case, the books need to be able to tell you what happened, not the other way around. Mm-hmm. You want to make sure that the books are telling a story, not that you're trying to get your story to match the books.
Ooh, I like that.
So it's got to move forward. You've got to go from point A to Z, and you have to have everything operate in between, so in order, so that at the end of the day, if you want to report, that's the answer.
So another advantage is what I like to call fractional exceptionalism. And so typically at a property management company, to get exceptional results, you have to hire full-time people. Part-time people aren't 100% committed.
Yeah.
The training time to train somebody who's part-time is the same as a full-time person. It's a lot of effort. If you use Anequim Office Solutions, you can have highly trained professionals doing your books, and you only get charged for the hours that they're working on them.
Yeah, the time.
So can you just walk us through kind of how AOS works and operates?
So first of all, we're going to go in and we're going to do some sort of analysis, which is a product in and of itself. We're going to be in there for quite a while, trying to get a feel for what it is that you've been doing. And then we're going to build a model for you to follow to make things better, to accomplish a company that's operating using best practices.
So just so I understand correctly, you're going to look at someone's rent manager system, find ways that they're not using the system most effectively, and then give recommendations so that best practices are used. And that is in of itself its own product. If people want to use us further, that's a totally different discussion.
We'll highlight what it is that is being done incorrectly, what could be deployed to be more efficient, and it'll be easy enough that you can actually do it yourself, which that's fine. I do think, though, that with Anequim, with the AOS service, it is just less expensive to end up using us, especially in the long haul, because we're going to tweak all of the inefficiencies out of the system, and we're going to enforce more of a structure in your company.
A disciplined workflow,
a disciplined workflow.
So then let's say they want to progress after the analysis. Once you've presented these opportunities for improvement, showcase the deficiencies, and they say, okay, we'd like you to help us implement change. Can you tell us about what the first 30 days look like?
So we're probably going to be looking at bank and credit card reconciliations, which will then push over into the payables process. We're going to work on getting the payables process down. We're going to make sure that the chart of accounts is coherent. It's going to be a financial document. It's not going to be an operations document, which is what too many people try to do. They try to make it so that the financial reports are telling an operational story. There are operational reports to tell the operational story, so stop trying to make those work that way. We're going to get that in line. We'll review and make sure that the deposits that you're used, the way that you're doing deposits is done correctly, like from tenants especially. If you're using inventory, we would go ahead and set up your inventory or set it up correctly. We'd have the COGS linked to all of your inventory so you can track to see how much of an asset you have in your warehouse, all that stuff. We're going to triple tie the bank reconciliation for you.
Oh, that's a big one.
That's good for commissions, the real estate commissions in almost every state. We'll set up posting management fees. Now, after phase one, which that's
the first 30 days.
That's roughly the first 30 days, depending on how things are not, how
things are going.
Things are or were before we started.
Sure.
And then phase two, we're going to look at things like process and upload the maintenance work order bills. We're going to link them through the service issues so that any customer service agent can come in, click on something, and get to whatever they're trying to answer. If they're trying to answer a vendor question, they can get to the bill. If they're trying to answer an operational issue, they can get through the work order, all using a PO number or a service issue number or an invoice number, anything. And then we'll probably set up your late fees, make sure that those things are working right.
And that's 30 days to 60 days.
Yeah, and then so after that, you can look for probably escrowing property taxes, escrowing insurance for the owners that you're paying their property taxes and insurance. We're going to set it up so that your owner batch report is more coherent. Probably doesn't include an owner statement. We can include an owner statement, but there are other reports that tell a better story, and we'd probably set that up for you, and we'll help you customize the ones for your more sophisticated clients so that they have what they want and stop calling you to answer your questions for them. Automate the owner disbursements. The service issue management is another one where if you have service issues that need to be managed, well, our staff can be there in the background making sure that the vendor goes in, or taking the customer service call to tell them when the vendor will be there, or following up with the vendor and say, hey, what happened? You didn't report back. And then closing it, and then we connect back to the bills.
What are some additional options people can choose from that we can help with?
A big one that has been pretty popular is the managing of the year-end 1099s for vendors. If you don't have that done by a certain date, you get fined, I think it was $100 per 1099 that you don't submit.
Wow.
I mean, it's crazy. So there's that one. Adding new tenants, adding owners, adding properties, units, that goes hand in hand. We would then start to work on the turnover management process. That might include the board, the make-ready board. Vendor management. We're going to clean up your vendors, make sure that they have a current certificate of insurance and
Workman's comp.
and workers' comp, so that if they don't, there's a process where, okay, it's expired, we call them, we get them to send it in, we link it, we change the dates, and now we can start dispatching them and paying again. That protects the owner.
So what are the ideal clients? Who benefits the most from the service?
So probably anybody, it's a lot of people. It's
Well, it's anyone on Rent Manager.
yeah, for right now, I would just stick with Rent Manager. Anyone who doesn't want to manage human beings, especially if you don't want to manage part-time human beings, that's a big one.
Anyone who wants to outsource their accounting department.
Yeah, if you want to have experts managing your accounting without them having to be your accountant, which especially in that 300 to 600 unit range, you start to feel like you need that, because you probably do, because you've been doing things wrong for so long. We can set that up so that you actually don't ever need to have one.
I would say another type of client that works well is anyone who just wants help managing Rent Manager well. So someone who wants help setting up the system or wants to tweak it using best practices.
And so the best practices is something we all need to endeavor to do. But here's the thing. You can't even really say best practices, because there's one. There really is one. It is a best practice or it's not. It's a pretty binary thing. So what we want to do is just get everybody on the same page, because if you have a fancy payables system, well, then you're doing it wrong. You don't need a fancy one. You don't need anything interesting about your payables. When I worked at Kuehne+Nagel, it's a logistics outfit years ago, we had a very boring process where the bills went in, they were approved, and then they were paid.
And that's ideal.
Just nice and boring.
Yeah.
Don't goof with everything trying to figure out, run everything through an equity account that doesn't make sense. Well, no. Run it through the right account. Just things like that.
So if this sounds interesting to you or you'd like a free consultation, please reach out to Anequim in the link below.